Welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and this is a general reading for the sign of Gemini for June 2024. And so in today's reading, what I'm going to be doing is called the Yellow Cardinal Cross. And I want to start off with looking at what issue you're sitting with. It could be a decision, a problem, some conflict. Maybe it's a pattern showing up in your life. And then I'm going to pull a second card to clarify that. And sometimes it tells me kind of what's obscuring that particular issue you're sitting with. And then I'm going to look at the conscious influence on this issue that you're sitting in. And so this is going to be, what you're aware of, what you're aware of, and why it's having something in your life is having an influence on this. And then what's really important is number 4, because that is your unconscious influence, and that's something that you're not aware of, and it's coming from the unconscious, so it's coming from your shadow. And so in part 4 we're going to be looking at you're going to be doing some shadow work. So we're going to be looking at kind of what's coming up from your shadow that's really impacting this, because the unconscious part is really what's going to have that biggest impact on this. And so if you're unfamiliar with the word shadow or shadow work, I will leave a video for you that I've done on shadow work about facing your own shadow. And it's a video I put together. And it's from my other channel called Carol Cares. And it really is a compilation of everything I have learned, all the tools I've learned through my own intensive healing in the last 7 years of my own complex trauma. So I think if you're interested in any shadow work or wanting to know how to do that inner work, this video will really help you get you started. And so, like I said, I'll have that in the description box for you. And then what's needed for resolution number 5. What's needed here for resolution. And finally, number 6, I'm going to ask for some guidance from the tarot. All right, so I'm going to begin this with, looks like I'm beginning with the Rider-Waite deck. And I'm going to clarify it with the Tarot of the Abyss by Tourian. And so we're going to start this off. So let me ask for, excuse me, one card here for what issue Gemini sitting with, decision pattern, what's showing up here in Gemini's life. Ooh, we have the 10 of Swords here for you. The 10 of Swords tells me a lot where you're sitting right now. What's obscuring? What's having can I have some clarification for this card? Definitely wanted to come out. The 6 of Wands here. The 6 of Wands. And number 3 is what's the conscious influence for this issue right here. The King of Wands in reverse. The unconscious influence, what's coming up from the shadow, that one fired out. The 3 of Cups. And at the top here we have what's needed for resolution. What's needed for these cards are kind of sloppy here. The two of Pentacles, and you did get another card that came with it, the 3 of Hearts, the 3 of Swords. And advice from the tarot here. Guidance from the tarot. Oop. Oh, the 5 of Swords. Okay. Now, clarification will be over here when I need it. And I want to start off with Gemini. I pulled a card from 2024 reading that I did for you. I pulled out 12 cards in that reading, one for each month. And they're all listed in my description box below. And your card for June 2024 was the Queen of Swords. And so that's the overriding energy for this reading. And the Queen of Swords speaks about, first of all, the queens in my deck are our feminine side. We all have a masculine part of us and a feminine part of us, and it has nothing to do with gender. It's just that each part has certain qualities, and the masculine part is the king in my deck, and that's very much our ego self that pretty much drives us every day in all our decisions and anything we do. And the feminine side, who has really been repressed over the years, and because she has beautiful qualities, and in particular the Queen of Swords talks about authenticity. She has the sword of authenticity. She's very much into getting back in your body and grounding and finding out who you are. Because, a lot of us spend a lot of times in our head with spinning. With all these swords can also be our mental thought patterns of, things that we tell ourselves, things that we learned when we were younger about ourselves that just aren't true. And so we really don't have, a real idea of who we really are. So this reading talks about authenticity. That's the overriding theme here for us. And so let's start out with, it's no surprise that you start off with the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is, like I said, this particular individual has really, I'm going to call him spun out here. Like he's just done. All of these swords have done him in. And like I said, swords are these thought patterns that we have, that we tell ourselves. And we learned these when we were younger. And here they are, like there could be all kinds of thought patterns about ourselves here. What people told us, you're like this, you're not like this, you can't do that. All these things that we were told, and we believed them. And we put all that together, and we put it in a package, put all these masks on, and that's who we present ourselves in the world, because that's what we were told when we were younger. But underneath all those swords is our authenticity. And so I'm seeing here that, you've really been, it's exhausting when you're spinning a lot in your head and you're hearing all these things that are really not true. But when you try to do something, you get all these doubts and fears and anxiety, and then, depression comes in sometimes. And I think this is you, like you're finally, I think all these thought patterns that have been spinning around have just, you're sitting in a really exhausted place right now. And this is going to clarify. The Six of Wands talks about this individual coming back from battle. And it really looks like, a victory card. He's got his victory wreath up here. He has the victory crown around his head. And but the sixes in my deck have a duality to them. So there's another side. So on the outside, it looks like, this individual's winning. But if you pull this green blanket here, there's loss behind it. And so this card speaks of me of some loss. There's some loss here that you need to feel. There's some grief here that you need to feel, because these belief systems that you have really hurt you. And so when we were told all these things when we were younger, and we continue to feel them as an adult, in order to heal from these, there's a lot of grief behind this. A lot of grief. And I'm just going to pull one more card here for this grief card to see if we can get another. So I'll give you another card. Tell me more about this grief card here. I'm feeling like my shuffling is off today. The Ten of Swords. Well, you just got the Ten of Swords again, and this time it's in reverse. And so this tells me that there's a real resistance here on your part to get to these swords, to get to this pain. So this is interesting. I'm not going to pull anything else because it just gave me the Ten of Swords, the same thing. So it really tells me that, you're sitting in a deflated situation. You're just feeling like you're done in from all your mind spinning. And so let's look at number 3, which is the conscious influence on this. What are you aware of? Well, this is interesting because the King of Wands comes out, and here's our masculine energy that I spoke about at the beginning. And so I see here that your ego self is very much forward, and your ego self is the King of Wands here, and the Wands speaks about putting ourselves first, doing something for ourselves, taking our life in a new direction, doing something creative. And when I mean creative, I mean you're just going to do something different. You could live a different way, new lifestyle, something that you want to do for yourself, maybe something you've always wanted to do. And I'm seeing here that there's a real block, that you're consciously aware of there's something that you want to do for sure for yourself. But there's just been so much mind spinning around it that you're just like, you don't know what to do anymore because you're just so blocked. And so I'm gonna ask for another card for the King of Wands here. The 8 of Swords, yeah. So this is the the card of feeling like you're all tied up. And this particular card, I like how they display this particular card, because this individual has just this ribbon going around her, and she can easily get out of this ribbon. And she's so petrified of all these swords right here, all these belief systems that she has about herself. She just doesn't see a way out. But these swords are not standing. They're just laying there. They're just laying on the ground. They're not going to harm her. But she feels like there's no way out. She has a blindfold on. She just sees no way out. And she's in reverse here. So on your part, it's just like, it's almost like you've given up, because it's just been so difficult for you. And I can see that with these 10 of Swords here. It's just telling me that you've really given up. And it's almost like you're wanting to quit the fight. You know, I can see that. And it really is, because the swords will keep us up in our heads. Our ego self will keep us up in our heads. The ego self doesn't want you to go in your body and start to feel some of this grief that you need to feel, because the ego self is petrified of emotions. So scared. It's a very scared part of us. What's coming up from your shadow here that needs healing? What's the influence? And when it has an influence on this, because it needs healing and you're not aware of it here. Well, the 3 of Cups comes here. And there's this is another feminine energy here. So this is, I can feel that you have a very strong masculine energy, the ego self, but you also have some feminine trying to push its way through here. And this is the card of these feminine energy, these 3 feminine energies celebrating. Getting together and celebrating. And this does not mean, you get together with people, but they're celebrating being in their bodies, because the 2 of Cups was about starting this intimate relationship with ourselves. And the 3 of Cups speaks about, now we're going to start to really get into our bodies. It's the beginning of getting back in your body and just feeling and celebrating who you are, right? And that's sitting in your shadow. Like, there's a part of you that there is this feminine side of you, this celebration, this joy card that's sitting in your shadow that wants to come out. And so I really need some more clarifiers here about this 3 of Cups, please. The 2 of Wands, the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, and the 10 of Pentacles. All right. So behind this joy card, this 3 of Cups, is the 2 of Wands. And you can see this individual looking like this and looking out. And so this tells me that there's, and this is the beginning. The wands is all about very creative, putting ourselves first, and taking our life in the direction we want to go in. It's about our life purpose. It's about what we were meant to do here. And so in your shadow, there's something here. There's something here for you to discover that looks like it's, it's going to bring you some joy. And it's sitting in your shadow. It's like there's a new direction for you here. Because we do have gifts in our shadow. People like to think that, the shadow is a very scary place to go. Well, it's scary in that there's lots of emotions here that need to be felt. But underneath that, the layers and layers that we have to peel through sometimes, there are gifts there for us. There's also like a Seven of Pentacles card here. And the Seven of Pentacles is a card that this particular individual here, she's been baking these pentacles for a long time. She's been doing a job for a long time, very much committed to something. Very much, and then I think at one point in her life where she kind of just goes, is this everything? And this is in reverse here. So this tells me that, you may have, or you may be doing a career, doing something that you've committed a lot of your life to doing. But it looks like there's something else here. Because I'm seeing the beginning. I'm seeing in the beginning here of something else that's, because this card is turned around where this person says, is this everything? And it's like, no, it's not everything. There's something else in here for you. There's something else in here. The Ten of Pentacles card comes up. Beautiful, beautiful depiction of the Ten of Pentacles. And you can see here that there's an older hand, first of all, and then a younger hand here. This picture right here on this hand speaks about different generations. And this card over here talks about home and our tree of where we came from, our roots. The Ten of Pentacles speaks about generations. It also speaks about trauma. It's a generational trauma card for me, and it often shows up in the shadow aspect in my readings. And so everybody has generational trauma. Everybody has trauma on a continuum. And so I'm sitting here, I'm seeing here that there is some trauma that you have that's sitting in your shadow that needs to be looked at, needs to be healed. And you could be aware of it, and maybe you're not. Because it's unhidden. We're not all aware of our own trauma because we do block it out. But behind, like, this joy wants to come out here, this new beginning wants to come out here, but I'm feeling like there's something that you need to come up to look at that is trauma. And you started off with this feeling of being completely like your mind has been spinning so much, and I'm wondering if the spinning is just a cover-up for this grief that wants to come out, because we talked about this grief that's underneath this blanket here. And so I'm feeling like there's some grief here that wants to come forward, that's sitting in your shadow, that you need to start to feel. Well, you need to feel. You need to get back in your body and start to feel. Because if we look at number 5, and I said that without looking at number 5 here. So number 5 is what's needed for resolution. Well, this is this individual here, this Two of Pentacles. And he's the juggler. And he's very ungrounded. He's on one foot. And so he's very almost like a multitasker here, doing these two things here. And this card comes up when it says, it's time to slow down a bit. It's time to slow down a bit. And it's Pentacles. Pentacles are all about body, getting back in our body, getting grounded. So I'm wondering if this part of the spinning here is because you keep yourself so distracted. Society seems to think it's a really good thing that, oh, you know, just keep yourself busy. If you got some grief to deal with or some emotions, just keep yourself busy. You need to slow down and feel those emotions. And that's what the universe wants you to do. The universe wants you to get less distracted and slow down, because look at the background over here. This water is emotions. Water's always depicts emotions in all the cards. And look at how uneasy it is, the waves, right? And this would be your stomach that's just, you know, wanting to, because right behind this Two of Pentacles is the pain card. There's some pain here that needs to be felt. That is what is needed for resolution, is to feel the pain of all those swords, all those things that you were told about yourself. That's what you need to feel. That's your resolution. And so what guidance does the tarot have here? Well, the guidance says, this is the Five of Swords. This is an individual who's, you know, just been in a battle, and the look on his face, it's like a grimace. It's kind of a yucky card. I mean, look at the clouds, how they're all jagged, and there's just something not right with this card. And what's not right is the little person at the back here. And I call this my bullying card, because bullies bully because they're full of shame. They're full of unworthiness, and they need to give it to someone else. That's the generational trauma, is when, you know, they were bullied from their caretakers, and then it goes on and on and on. And so we all have shame, and this is my unworthiness card. This is my shame card, and I will pull a couple more clarifiers before we end here. Ten of Wands and the Sun card. Two beautiful cards to end with. So definitely some shame here. I find that because you have the Six of Wands talked about what you lost here. So it sounds like there is some shame and some grief, I'm going to say, that need to be felt here. The unworthiness card came out. The Ten of Wands came out next, right beside the shame card. And the Ten of Wands came out in reverse here. The Ten of Wands is a card of, and it's interesting that you got the end of the wands, the 10, like you got the 10 of the swords. So it's like this, you're nearing a breaking point here. Like it is a breaking point for you. Because once it's like a completion, they call it a completion of the cycle. Because when something reaches a breaking point, when we hit the wall, we have to deal with the wall, and then something else opens up for us, a new beginning. And the Ten of Wands is this individual has been, you know, battling. Wands are all about battling. They're always in battle. And he's been battling to take his life in this new direction, and he had to fight hard for it. And he's collected all these wands here on his back, and they're heavy, they're heavy, they're heavy. And now it's time to start taking these wands out of his sack, because it's getting so heavy. It's in reverse here. It's going to take some time, right? It's going to take some time. But you do it a little bit. You do it bit by bit by bit. You know, I remember when someone told me, when I had to get to some grief and some shame, they're tough emotions. And especially grief are tough emotions. Believe it or not, I love grieving. But I have a part of me that wants to block the grief, that's petrified of getting to the grief. And so I'll defend it. And when I finally get there, it's just like, oh, it washes over me. And that's the same thing with you, like these emotions, these tough emotions that you have to feel right now of shame and grief. they're tough, but once you sit with them, right, you become less distracted and you feel these emotions. They're just going to cleanse you so much and relieve you from the sword energy that you're feeling. And the last thing that it's going to leave you with is the sun. The sun card. The sun card is all about, and it's in reverse here because the sun card's all about joy. It's a beautiful, beautiful card that represents joy in our life. A little bit of joy, a little bit of happiness, but that's in reverse right now. But that's going to open up for you once you start to grieve and feel that shame. Sit with it. Get back in your body and sit with it and start to really get back at, who you are, who you really are underneath all that stuff that you've been told from generations and generations ago, right? Of who you are, but it's not true. There's a lot of generational stuff here that you need to start sifting through little by little, Gemini. And so I'm going to leave you with a video on grief and a playlist on shame that I think is really going to help you just to start to know how to deal with it. So take care, Gemini, and have compassion for yourself for what you're working through, because this is a tough journey, but it's the most important journey of your life. So talk soon. Bye.